Hello, everybody. Welcome to All Villa, No Filler. Please remember to like and subscribe. Click subscribe below if you support the mighty Aston Villa and think we're going to win the Champions League next year. And if you don't subscribe, you support Birmingham City. Those are the rules. It's what's been written over in Silicon Valley by the owners of YouTube, Google, or Alphabet's Google. So, look, got to do it now. Click that subscribe button. Now we're past that. I've just watched Espana versus Croatia. Spain 3, Croatia 0. Nico Williams. Mr. Williams, if you want to come to Aston Villa and join your fellow Basque uh, footballing professional, Unai Emery, you are more than welcome. The power of that guy, the penetration, the technical ability. He didn't actually have a brilliant game today for Spain, but you can see all the raw ingredients there for a 21-year-old guy. Getting him out of Bilbao or Athletic is a very difficult task indeed. Getting players out of that club is always a difficult task. High wages as well, considering the fact they don't tend to spend that highly on transfers. So getting Nico Williams to the Premier League is always going to be an arduous task. But I tell you what, if he ever turned up at Aston Villa, I'd be very happy with that indeed. And he has indeed been linked with us before. Indeed, there was a report in Spain last year that Unai Emery indeed met him last year. But of course, that's a report. We don't know the truth of it. Otherwise, if Lamine Yamal as well fancies moving over from Barcelona to Birmingham, to live in Birmingham to play for Aston Villa, he's more than welcome. 16 years of age, my goodness. Every now and again, someone comes through at that kind of age, and you just know there's something special there. And he looked very, very tasty indeed, didn't he? Now, in Aston Villa world, look, I don't tend to comment on every single transfer link that Aston Villa have because it's silly season. You're just going to have a bajillion different links here, there, and every bloody where. The ones that I think are legitimate right now, the Luiz Juventus link and McKennie Eiling Jr. coming over to Villa, I think that's very legitimate indeed. And I dare say one or two others are as well. I think the Cash to Milan link is probably likely as well, given the volume of noise going around that. But one that came out today in the Times, Amadou Onana, the Everton CDM. Now, the only reason I wanted to sort of talk about that is just because it's an interesting one. Because if it is a legitimate link, I think it's somewhat suggestive of what Aston Villa probably have identified as a weak spot in the team, and that is winning tackles, physicality, headers. Aston Villa last season, we looked absolutely brilliant in so many games. But from the moment Manchester United came back and beat us 3-2 when we were 2-0 ahead, still bloody annoying me that, back in December at Old Trafford, there has been a significant number of games where Aston Villa have taken leads 1-0, 2-0, even 3-0 against Nottingham Forest back in February. And what tends to happen is that Aston Villa go from completely composed and in control. That composure looks at times like it becomes casual. And the other team, sometimes when they go behind 2-3-0, they just decide, let's go for it. Let's change our shape a little bit. Let's just try and physically overawe Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest came back to 3-2 from 3-0 down. Chelsea came back to 2-2 when it was 2-0 to Villa. Luton did it, came back to 2-2. Manchester United did it as well, obviously, as I mentioned. There's been various examples, other ones that I've forgotten. Brentford, we're 2-0 up against them and it goes to 3-2. And all of those occasions, it always looked like Villa went from totally in control, totally composed, to looking just a bit casual and very, very vulnerable to crosses into the area. Brentford sending a Spanish left back down the left, Regulon, that was it, whipping balls in and just easy finishes for Brentford to make it 3-2. Thankfully, brought it back to 3-0. A couple of other occasions, Chelsea, again, just physically seemed to overawe us. And you would look at that bench towards the end of the season and you'd look at it and think, with the injury crisis we had, there wasn't really a great deal of options for Unai Emery to change it, which is why partly I think players like Eiling Jr., Weston McKennie, Ross Barkley, and were Amadou Onana to turn up, what a lot of these players do is they just add that strength in depth, don't they? Particularly with the Champions League games we've got coming up. So you sort of look at it and you think those players, they're a bit of a step up, aren't they, from Irobenham? Who knows how good Irobenham will become in his career, but just where he is right now, it's a step up from that. And Leander Dendoncker, who went out on loan to Napoli, it's a step up from that. A couple of other players as well. And but if we just take a quick look at Amadou Onana, let's go to FBref, a trusty source. Let's look at this. Look at the man's defensive ability, right? Tackles. Look at that. He is one of the best defensive midfielders when it comes to tackling in the Premier League. Doesn't tend to make too many errors as well, as you can see. Now, something worth bearing in mind here with Onana, he's just 22 years of age, so fantastic age for growth. But he's at Everton, and Everton are, under Sean Dyche, they're not exactly an Aston Villa, Unai Emery possession-based team, are they? So their team will involve, particularly if you're playing as a CDM, it will involve a lot of hustle, bustle, tackling, winning headers, right? Probably more so than what Villa do, but at the same time, that is a very impressive showing. His tackling numbers have to be some of the best in the Premier League, right? And if we go further down and we look at his aerial duels, now I'm not going to take full credit for spotting this. Sam Ty sent me this. Go check out the interview I had with him the other day. People have loved that. I've had some brilliant reactions to that. Thank you to everyone who commented on it. It's gone down really, really well. He's a great person to talk to about football. Look at those aerial. Look at that. 94% top percentile, 99% aerial duels, 74% aerial duels won. So he's in the top 99%. He's one of the top aerial ball winners in the Premier League. Aston Villa need that. They need players who are physical, tall. What is he? 6'4", 6'4". Tall, rangy, very difficult to get past. I've looked at some of his stats elsewhere, and I wonder if at his age, he's been linked with Arsenal. I wonder if the progression he's on right now, he's gone from, I think it was Schalke to Lille. Was it Lille? Can't remember now. But anyway, ends up at Everton. And I wonder if his next step could be somewhere like a Villa and could be working with someone like an Unai Emery. Because if you look at him in possession, now bearing in mind again, look, Everton aren't the best possession team. So what's going to happen a lot of the time is he's going to get the ball, look for a pass, and perhaps it's not on because it just isn't. But what he is, so where he could improve is in possession, obviously. So I wonder if a jump to a club like Arsenal might be too quick right now, and maybe jump into a Villa would be the best for both him and Aston Villa. Because let's face it, we don't know how long Boubacar Kamara is going to be out for, right? I don't know how wise it would be for Villa to go through potentially up to February, if he's out for a year, with a kind of, whilst versatility is the watchword and the order of the day, is it wise to go through this season without an out-and-out CDM for a significant portion of it, particularly when we're going to be in the Champions League? Probably not. What would Everton want for Amadou Onana? The Liverpool Echo have reported they'd want 50 million quid. Now, I think this is a deflationary window. I think it could be a deflationary window. We saw in January Premier League clubs were not spending at the levels that they had done in previous years. Maybe that's to do with slight fears about PSR. We look at Everton. We look at Forest getting, points deductions. Other clubs sound like they can't really spend as much as you would traditionally think. I mean, look at Manchester United bidding 35 million quid for Jared Branthwaite. Are you kidding me? I mean, 35 million quid for Branthwaite? I mean, that's derisory, isn't it? Chelsea, are they able to spend at the levels they've been doing in previous years? even Newcastle in the last kind of year or two haven't really been able to spend to the degree you'd sort of imagine they might do. So again, you sort of wonder, are Premier League clubs going to be able to spend to the level that they have done in previous years? Are they kind of waiting for Saudi Arabia to come in and have these absurd bids that might just get everything flowing again? But previous years, Spanish clubs have stopped spending to the levels they traditionally used to. Outside of Real Madrid, I guess. Italian clubs have been doing this for a fair few years, not really spending high, or at least, again, to the levels they used to. So, and it has been the Premier League that's taken over. So I don't know. I just wonder if 50 million quid is. I wonder if they're going to struggle to get that. I think a year ago they'd have got that, but I don't know now. So we'll see. We'll see. But again, and you have to look at his wages as well. What's he on? Because then once Boubacar Kamara comes back, if you've suddenly got two players, Kamara's on big wages, Onana's on big wages, both playing a similar role. But something Onana is good at as well is also he can burst forward, transition. He can get forward with that ball very, very quickly. So on the break, very useful player to have. But I think were he to come into Aston Villa, if I take aside some of my reticence about what kind of wages he might want, what the transfer fee might be, and what happens then when Kamara comes back, I can't help but think that he solves quite a lot of problems for us, and that those aerial duels, in bloody hell, we can see constantly from or we can see a lot from set pieces. We always look vulnerable from it. Could someone like him come in and help us save the day on a few occasions? Could he be that CDM that we just have sitting there, right there, until Kamara comes back, and then we figure out what to do from there? And Emery's a genius, so he could, I'm sure work out a way to play with the two of them. We'll see, but I certainly think yes. I think that link does make sense in my head. I could see him coming in and playing a vital role for us in CDM. But anyway, let me know what you think about that. It was just a player I wanted to talk about because just some of his attributes do make sense. And when I talk about Villa going from composed to casual in a lot of games, it just feels like sometimes we would get physically overawed and we didn't react within the game. And then a lot of the time crossing the ball into the area. Look at your two CMs. When Kamara was out, you've got Louise and John McGinn. They're not the tallest, are they? They're not the tallest players, though they are. McGinn particularly is quite physical, but they're not the tallest. And at centre back, Carlos wasn't the best at winning headers, and Pau Torres, he's not someone who's going to scream and shout at everybody. So sometimes maybe you just need like a bit of a physical, fast-paced ball winner, and I think Onana would solve a fair few of those problems. But look, it's just one link. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more. I'm not going to do every single one of them because we're not clickbait FC here. But I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting one. Otherwise, aside from that, the Euros, poor old John McGinn getting that 5-1 battering from Germany. Scotland were pathetic. That was a dreadful tactical display. I didn't like the idea of seeing Steve Clarke yelling at Austin McPhee. Yelling at your own coaches. Give me a break, mate. Come on. Austin McPhee's the Wizards. Look at how many goals Villa score from set pieces. But yes, let me know what you think. I've got a big interview coming tomorrow. Let me know what you think. Please like and subscribe. We're very close to 2,700 subscribers now. So get subscribing, spread the word, spread the message. Let me know what you think. Up the mighty Villa.